Hello, my name is Tim Kenny from Tim Kenny Surveying, and recently I found myself doing a lot of work around EPCs and how surveyors can interpret and deal with EPC information, how they can advise and inform their clients about the useful things they can do to their property. I've kind of also found myself defending EPCs a lot on LinkedIn and various Facebook groups and bits and pieces, because we've had the RICS home survey standards in for a while, and within those standards is a requirement for the surveyor to give some consideration to the EPC information and provide some of that within the report and provide some comment on that, certainly at levels 2 and 3. And as a result of that, a lot more surveyors are looking at the EPCs, and that's great, and I think it's really important that we as surveyors are looking into that. And I'll probably do another video talking a little bit about how surveyors can use that to really add value to their reports. But what I want to deal with today is a lot of kind of the criticism those EPCs are getting. Some of it is perfectly justified, and I'm not here to say that the EPC system is perfect. It has its flaws, it has its difficulties, but I do want to say that we need to consider it in the context of what it's trying to achieve. Now, we as surveyors, when we go and look at a property and we carry out a level 2, level 3 survey, level 1 survey, whatever it may be, we're there to look at that particular property, really drill down into the construction, into the defects, and provide good, solid, clear advice to our client based on what we can find. We aim to be as accurate and as correct as we can be, and that's exactly what we should be doing. And it's true to say that if, on first glance, when you look at an EPC, a lot of it doesn't quite look right to us as surveyors. It doesn't quite add up. Now, I'll deal with one point first, and that's that sometimes mistakes are made, right? Sometimes a DEA will misidentify a construction type. They will miss something within a property that could affect that EPC. That's true. It happens. Uncomfortable truth is surveyors do similar things as well. Now, if it's true that we surveyors are going through and we're looking at these EPCs and we can very much find these faults, if we were to do the same thing with surveyors' reports and go through them, we'd probably find faults to an equal kind of an extent. I do it. I've had to look at various reports over the years and for reasons and go through them, and you can see errors within them, and they exist. We're all human. We do make mistakes. We do our best, but sometimes they happen. It is also true to say that DEA, so the energy assessors who visit the properties, are spending less time there than we as a surveyor will. Understandably, they're getting paid less for it. It's a less intensive level of inspection. So if they're carrying out a lower level of inspection, it is almost inevitable sometimes they will not find things that we as a surveyor will go on to find. And that's fine. And again, I want to do a video about talking about the value we as surveyors can add because of this opportunity within the home survey standards. I'll talk a little bit about that. But we need to accept that there will be errors. That's fine. And again, certification schemes exist to audit and check up on their DEAs and make sure standards are being met. In an ideal world, I'd have those DEAs doing a lot more investigation into the property, really understanding it a lot better. But that's where we are. If we were to try and do that, to try and get, if these surveyors, these DEAs were spending as long as perhaps they would need to, we need a lot more of them. And if you really want to think about that, think about the difficulties that occurred around the home condition report and getting enough surveyors through the kind of the qualification and the processes that would have been required for that, and think about why that didn't happen. So there's kind of a reason why we have this sort of less invasive inspection routine for DEAs and less information they're trying to gather. Ultimately they're gathering it under RDSAP, so Reduced Data Standard Assessment Process, I think it is, or procedure. So reduced data. They're not taking all of the data that we as a surveyor may think is actually really relevant to the energy performance of a property, or that we pick up as part of a condition-based survey. We have to accept it within that context. The other side of it is to think about the fact that, in an odd sort of sense, EPCs are not supposed to be accurate. They're supposed to be comparative only. And the clearest kind of metaphor, or the clearest kind of analogy we can make for this is the mileage ranges on electric cars. You know, when you go and buy your new Tesla or your new whatever, I mean, there's so many out there, I'm not going to start listing, but there's plenty of electric cars now out on the market. When you go and look at them, the sales brochure will quote a range per charge. So it will say, you know, a Tesla can do about 400 miles now that they're supposed to be able to do on a single charge. A smart car, so a Smart 42, does about 50. Quite a big variation. But the reality is we know that were you to get in that Tesla or that smart car or whatever else it is, you're probably not going to hit the range that they're stating with any kind of consistency. It might, you might find that one time that you get in it, you drive exactly that, and you hit that number spot on. But more often than not, you'll probably find it's going to come in under that. They've assessed that mileage based on some standard conditions, and it allows them to give a reasonable comparison between different models of car. You know, so you can make an informed choice. You know that the smart car is going to do, you know, about 8 times less than the Tesla. It might be that it only does 40 and the Tesla does 8 times 40, but that kind of differential will remain about the same. So it allows you to make a reasonable comparison between those cars on range, if that's the factor that you're considering important. And I think we've got to think about the EPC ratings and what it's stating within that same context. So if you're looking at a house that is a B and you're trying to compare it to a house that is a D, you'll know that roughly, you know, that house is going to be warmer, more efficient to heat than the C or the D or the lower range properties. And that's, you can make a reasonable comparison. Now it won't be that, you know, the number stated for the D and the number stated for the B, they're not going to be right. You know, we know they're going to be well out. You know, price of gas is going up, price of all energy is increasing. Feels like daily at the moment. So those numbers are not going to be right. There are also some flaws in it in relation to how it calculates carbon usage and how it kind of factors in carbon usage for electricity generation as opposed to gas heating, and that does throw up its own oddities as well. So, you know, these things are trying to be addressed within the process, and, you know, there's lots of conversations happening with the RICS and with government and with the EPC certification schemes that manage all of this, and we do have a new version of SAP coming out to reflect the new building regulations as well. So all of these things are kind of happening in the background. It is trying to get better. But I think the main thing I would like surveyors to kind of to take from this video is that we kind of need to give EPCs a little bit of slack. You know, we need to treat them for what they are. We need to accept that they are currently the best system we can have to assess energy use within this property. And we need to remember that, you know, we have some of the worst performing housing stock in Europe for energy efficiency. We have a significant problem in this country with the way that our properties perform, and we need to do something about it. EPCs are currently the best we have. They will get better, but we have to kind of accept them as they are. But as I say, I'll do another video when I get time, talking a little bit more about how we as surveyors can turn that into an opportunity to add real good solid value into our reports, and also help to actually genuinely make a difference. We know that people, when they buy houses, when they do tend to do work to them, and when they tend to do work to them, that's a great time to improve the energy efficiency. So we as surveyors need to be making sure we're kind of hitting that point and giving them the good information. So I'll try and talk about that next time. Thank you very much.